let's talk about your parents, starting with their parents. First of all,
that's Grandpa Lawless and Grandma Lawless. JB and Bessie.
And that would be your mother's parents?
Yeah, that's my mom's parents down in Mississippi. He's the one I was telling you that protected me and told him, you better not bother this boy or it's going to be too bad.
Be one of the very first memories at the very, that you had.
The last time I saw Grandma, she was on her deathbed at home. And I said, Grandma, I'll always remember you because I just loved your pancakes. And you know what? She got up out of that bed and went to the kitchen and made me pancakes. Put them on a plate, put them down, put the syrup there in front of me.
Wow.
And she went back to bed.
And where do they come from? Like
Laurel, Mississippi.
Laurel.
Originally they're from Ireland. Their people's from Ireland.
So they were actually, were they Ireland?
I don't know if they came from Ireland. I think they did, but they didn't seem to have an accent. So I'm thinking maybe it was their parents.
Okay.
Because his name was Lawless, but they called him Lawless.
Sounds Mexican.
Lawless.
Lawless.
Lawless. And that's my mama. Oh, she was so pretty.
Any idea how old she was, where she was at during that time?
Oh, yeah, we lived at, that was 1141 East Mulberry Street in Kokomo. Yeah, that's where it's at. That's in the back of the house that we had aluminum siding put on it. It was a stucco house, and we had aluminum siding put on it. It was in the back of the house, yeah.
Right. So, and during that picture, how old do you think you were?
If I was in the picture, I'd make a guess. Oh. But I'm not in that picture.
I figured you'd judge. Here's another photo.
Oh, yeah. She had this photo taken for the beauty contest. She would never, ever, be photographed like that.
With her legs showing at that point in time, that was racing.
Oh, you just didn't show that much leg back then, no.
Alright, now here's...
Oh, that's Dad. That was him when he worked up there at Northern Indiana Supply Company. That's the uniform they all wore. And he was always in that position on the back porch, leaning against that post with right hand in his pocket, and I guess at that time he was smoking, and a cigarette in his left hand.
And here's another.
Yeah, that's Dad when he was in service.
He looks very young in the photo.
Yeah, I'm sure.
20s, maybe even younger.
He might have been 16 or 17. You can't tell because during World War II, every able body that could shoot a gun or hold a gun was enlisting. Yeah, there's no telling how old he was, but he could have been 16 or 17. He don't look much older. Oh boy. That's Dad and Mom and me. that's what year or make car that is. Can't see too much of it.
A vintage car.
Well, back then it wasn't.
Yeah, true.
I mean, yeah, today, I don't know. It looks like it was made before 50.
Well, judging by your age, you're probably about 6 or 7 years old. You were born in 1940?
I was born in 42, and I look about 6 years old.
Should be around 1950s car. It was new.
If it was new, but well, it could be because Dad loved his new cars.
Alright. Well, I guess everything we spoke about through from the beginning to now about preteen years. Is there anything else that you can remember, or you would want to
Elaborate on?
Yeah.
I don't. Just
Or those are just pretty much the highlights. I mean, how school? Did you ever skip school, or did you?
Oh Lord!
Like just preteen years, or were you a straight A student? Like how did school
No,
go?
no.
Okay.
I was closer to a straight F student.
All right.
Because there was a lot of things on my mind.
The teacher.
The teacher sent notes home with my grade card saying that I was not applying myself. I was always looking out the window or drawing pictures or something. I just wasn't into
the work in front of you.
Schoolwork. Right. It's just something I had to tolerate. I wasn't thrilled about being in school.
Did you get troubled by your parents?
No, not really. They just figured,
Might be a stupid kid.
Yeah.
They get a job at a meat packing place somewhere.
They didn't holler at me. I mean, I was just me, And they didn't have any other kids to measure me by.
True.
What's that clicking noise or a thump?
The dog behind you chewing on
Oh.
Ball.
That's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
The dog chewing on a ball.
So, can you remember any times you skipped school, or?
Yes, I skipped school. Sometimes just to go up to Spencer's pool room, just to shoot pool. Other times at lunch, I would meet some kids there at Eli Cafe, and they'll decide we'd go swimming. Down the bridge or something.
Can you elaborate more on going and playing pool down at the pool hall? Were you good at it? Did you?
No, I wasn't particularly good, but my friend Dick Ridgway was very good. He could play snooker and win. They used little tiny red balls, and then there was one white one, and I guess you just kept shooting until all the balls were gone, and whoever had the most was the winner. And the pockets were small. They weren't like a regular pool table, and the balls were very small. But I tried to play that game a few times, but
wasn't very good at it.
Wasn't very good at it.
Alright, anything else? You could, girlfriends, first crushes, you were like, still
man.
Under 13. Did you even have time for a girlfriend?
Well, there was this girl in Kokomo. She was the younger sister. I told you I was in third grade twice.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the first time I thought her older sister, Sue Fowler, was the most beautiful creature in the world. They had a dark complexion and real long, dark, straight hair. And of course, she never saw anything in me at all. But, you know, I just admired her from afar. And then the following year, when I took third grade over, there was another little girl with dark hair and dark complexion. And her name was Mary Fowler. She was the younger sister of Sue, and I had no idea.
It's like, hey, your last name sounds familiar, but oh well.
Well, I knew her name was Sue, but I didn't
know her last name yet?
Yeah, I mean, kids in school, they know everybody by their first names.
Yeah.
But eventually I found out she looked so much like her older sister, except her older sister had longer hair. She had real kind of short hair. And then later on, I was kind of sweet on a girl named, I had her first name, last name in my mind. Oh, Janet Boyd. And she lived about a block from where I did. You know, there was a street, she lived on the corner, and then a block further up, I lived on the end of that next block, on Mulberry Street. And I got to carry her books home for her. One time. And
that was your date.
Well, she had a big thick stack of books and I carried them because we were both going the same way, and I was still, you know, kind of real young. I knew she was pretty and I knew she was sweet, and
you wanted to do something nice for her. So
I wanted to do something to be nice to her, so I carried her books. And when we got to her house, I gave her books and I walked on. But it never went farther than that.
So that was pretty much your girlfriend experience.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I was kind of green. I was kind of young. I was kind of naive about those funny looking creatures that wore their hair long and then wore skirts. And I couldn't figure out why they was so different and so sweet talking, and you know, they didn't wrestle around in the mud like the rest of us guys.
It is Elite 14. We are back. Alright. Let's talk about the first car you ever bought about around age 12, maybe 13.
Yeah, there was a shyster. And he was just in the neighborhood, and he said, "Hey kid, want to buy a car?" And I said, "I don't have money for a car." And he said, "Well, I'll take any amount you got, because I've got to catch an airplane out of here, and I hate to just leave the car on the side of the road. What do you give me for it?" And I said, "Well, however much I got in my bank account." So he drove me up to the bank, and I went in and I cleaned out my banking account, and I think it was $35. And I said, "All I've got is $35. He said, "The car is yours, thank you," and gave me the keys. And
no title?
I didn't know anything about titles.
Oh, alright.
I didn't know anything about gas and oil either.
Alright, so you got the keys?
I got the key and the car started, and I parked it about half a block from my from my house, and see, a lot of times I could push it and jump in and push the clutch in, put it in second gear, pop the clutch back out, and it would cough to life and take off running. And one morning I was pushing it, and the neighbor guy saw me, and he asked me if I wanted him to push me with his car. I said, if you don't mind, it'd really help me out. So he did. He got behind me and gave me a little push. I popped the clutch, took off to school. And on Sycamore, it goes down a hill and under the railroad trestle and back up the hill. So I parked it facing downhill.
Good
so
idea.
After school, I could put it in neutral, give it a little push out into, the street, and then jump in, hold the clutch down, put it in gear, trim the key on, and wait till it picked up enough speed and I could pop the clutch and it'd start running, and I'd drive on home. And I'd park about a block from my house so my mom and dad wouldn't find out. So yeah, I kind of learned how to drive in the cemetery on Sycamore Street. Because I was used to going on in the cemetery. Me and my buddy used to go in there, and in this mausoleum, I never locked its doors. It was a real narrow hall, and it had a booth down at the far end. And we'd just sit down and smoke cigarettes, because our parents wouldn't have let us smoke cigarettes. So we could smoke there and not get in trouble. And since I was used to going to that cemetery, that's where I took the car to practice driving, making curves.
Did you ever hit a headstone?
No. I never drove that fast.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess the next memory is about the convertible, and you smashed your finger. Tell us, how you...
Yeah, okay. My friend Danny Scout had an old convertible with a manual top. And when you were through driving around during the daytime and was getting ready to go in the house for the evening or for the night, you always got to put your convertible top up and roll your windows up in case it rains. And I was there with them, and I took one side of the car and he took the other side, and we unsnapped the convertible top, took the boot off of it, or the cover, and we were raising it up and pulling it forward so it would latch down, and you get inside, turn the latch, and it would lock it. But as we were coming down, these cross members that held the top, maybe we were laying it down. Anyhow, I had a ring. It was, I don't know what, high school ring or something, a grade school ring. Anyhow, I had a ring. And as we were bringing the top down, the cross pieces that supported it folded and caught my finger. And if it wasn't for the ring, it'd probably cut my finger off. But whatever ring I had on, it smashed it pretty good. And we had a heck of a time getting a pair of pliers and squeezing it enough to get it off my finger. But I was pretty happy. And Danny felt so bad that he went in his house, went upstairs to his bedroom, and he found an old ring he used to have, or used to wear. It was a black hematite ring, really nice. Danny Scout was a good friend of mine, so he gave me that ring. And I told him he didn't have to, but he insisted. Now, Danny Scalf was a good friend back then. His mom and dad were real strict because they were both preachers, or holy roller type preachers.
They were both like actual preachers.
Yeah,
like
they were.
And ran a church and stuff, kind of.
I don't know because I never went to their church.
Oh.
I don't know if they took turns or preaching.
Wow.
Or what.
Talk about a strict upbringing.
Oh, talk about strict. Danny had a little sister. And one time she and I entered a VFW dance contest. Because we were young. And we went, it was on Sycamore Street. I think where the Crescent Dairy is now, or was when I lived there.
What's a Crescent
It was
Dairy?
it's an ice cream place. It's like Dairy Queen.
Oh, okay.
Maybe it was a Dairy Queen. Yeah, I guess it was Dairy Queen now. Anyhow, it was VFW, and we went upstairs, and we waited our turn. We had numbers that we pinned on our shirts. And anyhow, we were doing the twist. Exactly.
Yeah.
And I never danced with Barb before, but I mean, I knew how to twist, she knew how to twist, but it didn't matter. But she jumped up in the air while we were doing the twist, and she kept doing that. And she had a skirt on. And we won the prize. And we split the money. And when I got her home, her mama, it was dark. I didn't know it had got dark, but her mama come out there and hauled off and slapped me so hard. It took Danny and I a long time to feel around in the grass to find my glasses.
Oh, wow.
It knocked the glasses clean off of my face, and she didn't care. That was her daughter, her only daughter, and she was a minister. And
so she smacked you because you took her into the dance.
She didn't even know that yet.
Okay.
It was after dark.
That was why you got slapped. Wow.
Oh yes, yes. I don't know if she ever found out.
Well, good thing the husband didn't come out. He'd probably done more than slapped you.
Oh my gosh. Yes, he would have. I was shocked, and Danny was hollering at his mom. That's Grady. I mean, you've known Grady for years and years and years. How can you just slap him like that? How come you can't trust him? You know him. And I've been running. I was Danny's best friend forever and ever.
Almost part of the family kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Did she ever answer why she...
No, that was the last I saw of him, last I went over there.
I agree. I would have done the same thing. I was like,
I was hurt and embarrassed, and I felt like I was supposed to be ashamed, so I didn't really do anything wrong, but yeah.
Yeah.
I must have. So...
But now in your older years that you didn't do anything wrong. But at the time, yeah.
Well, that was probably wrong because they didn't know we were... I don't know, we might have just went out for a quick Coke or something. And just saw this sign that said dance contest. We might have went to a Dairy Queen to get a Coke or an ice cream or something.
Did you ever race your car? I know being you're still young, but just maybe, or see how fast we can get it to go.
Well, yeah, I did. Matter of fact, it was the first car I had. My dad bought me when I was 16, and I found it on a car lot that was just a couple blocks from the high school, and it was a customized car. It was like a 50 Chevy, but it had been customized by Sears, by a fellow named Sears, and it was metal flake gold, and they had extended the headlight pins so it looked like a dragonfly, and they'd put Oldsmobile lenses, so it was big red. It looked like a big dragonfly, and it was gold metal paint with lacquer over it. And he had taken the handles off, the door handles, so it was just a button. And he had taken the hood ornament off, and it was all smooth. And I went out to the drag strip out there in Bunker Hill. Just to find out if I had a fast car or not. And it's the first time I ever had been out there. And there's a lot I didn't know. The light turned green, I floored it and took off, and the hood raised up slowly and slowly broke my windshield and pinched the fenders. So I was blind. You know, I couldn't see where I was going. But I got down to the end, and I don't remember how I ever got it home. But, or got the windshield fixed or whatever. But it sat in my side yard for about 2 or 3 years, and I finally gave it away to Frank Walker, who was married to, no, he wasn't married yet. He was still in school and working at Amico Transmission Shop on Washington Street. But he was dating my first wife's baby sister, or younger sister, Gloria. And I gave it to him, and in the hopes that, you know, he'd fix it back up, like take the dents out and replace the windshield. But he gave it to his younger brother, Roy, who just pulled the engine and put it in another car.
And trashed the rest.
And trashed the rest of it, so.
That's a shame.
Yeah. That's the only time I raced out there. Now, after I was married, I did race in figure 8 races, but that was after I was 21. We don't want to be up there.
Not yet. About Danny Stouff.
Scalp, yeah.
Scalf. What about Spice Cakes?
No, that was Dick Ridgway. We used to, Dick Ridgway had a paper route that he passed on a bicycle, and I had a bicycle, and he was my buddy, and so I went with him. And I helped him fold the newspapers and put them in a newspaper sack, and we'd put them on our handlebars on the bicycle, and we'd go down there and we'd just throw them at the house. And it's kind of funny because where we passed, when I was just a kid, I ended up living in that addition on those streets after I was married and had kids.
Wow.
Much later. And
I did this paper route.
yeah, I did this paper route. But anyhow, It was his paper route, and I didn't get paid. I just went with him,
That's
just because we
true
were buddies. Yeah, true buddies. And every day, halfway through the route, he would stop at this little grocery store. I think it was on Phillip Street where North Street ends. It's called East North Street. Run right into it. And there was a little grocery store there. And he'd go in there and buy him a gallon of milk, cold. And he'd buy him one of those orange looking spice cakes with the white icing on it. And he would go outside and he'd eat the spice cake and he'd drink all the milk.
Did he ever offer you some?
And no, he never offered to buy me any.
That's true friendship, right?
Well,
wow.
I've been to his house where he's gone in there and let me watch him make hot chocolate. I never got any of that either.
Wow. Now looking back at it, it's like, huh.
Well, it was, that
Some
was
guy to hang out with.
just the way he was raised. And, he was the youngest of two brothers. There was Dan and Dave and Dick. And
all D's.
yeah.
Alright.
And they had a little sister named Susie.
I was expecting Dorothy.
Well, maybe her name was Dorothy Sue. I don't know.
Perhaps.
But those were the Ridgeways.